Funding for Chad Bushnell, North State Roots provided by It's Jerky. It's Jerky is produced and family owned in the North State. It's Jerky, producing beef jerky and beef sticks since 1996, and by viewers like you.
Drive Ford truck with chrome on the tires, pretty little thing sitting next to me. She asked if she could grab the wheel, take it for a spin out in the hills, rev it up and go at full speed.
Chad Bushnell has become a well-known name in the North State country music scene, opening for many famous country artists at the Red Bluff State Theater and playing at multiple county fairs and rodeos. Born and raised in Red Bluff, California, Chad Bushnell has been playing the guitar and singing since the age of 4.
Yeah, we grew up in the country with horses, and I grew up, working with my dad, working around the house and working with horses, building fence, and doing sports. I had a good childhood. I got to play sports, did rodeo, and all that different type of stuff. Jacked up, four-wheel drive Ford truck, chrome on the tires, pretty little thing sitting next to me. She asked if she could grab the wheel, take it for a spin out in the hills, rev it up, go at full speed. I said, I don't let just anyone. Girl, go ahead, let's have us some fun. You can drive my truck anywhere that you want to. You can drive my truck back in the woods, cruise on a dirt road, middle of the country, anywhere you think you should. If you feel like you want, you can take it out mud, go a little crazy, and if we get stuck, we'll get in the backseat and make love. You can drive my truck. Take the back road at the edge of town. We can cruise it with the windows down, rev it up past the city limit sign. Wait stop next overpass, we can use another tank of gas. Let's fill her up, grab us a cold light. Crank up the music on the country radio. Come on, baby, let's go. You can drive my truck anywhere that you want to. You can drive my truck back in the woods, cruise on a dirt road, middle of the country, anywhere you think you should. If you feel like you want, you can take it out mud, go a little crazy, and if we get stuck, we'll get in the backseat and make love. You can drive my truck. Oh baby, you can drive my truck anywhere that you want to. You can drive my truck back in the woods, cruise on a dirt road, middle of the country. You feel like you want, you can take it out mud, go a little crazy, and if we get stuck, we'll get in the backseat and make love. We'll get in the backseat and make love. can drive my truck. Hey, you can drive my truck.
Much of his family is involved in music, including his great-grandmother who plays piano and his aunt and uncle who play the guitar and sing.
As far as back I can remember, when I was first playing music, we had a family reunion, and I don't remember where it was, but I was like 3 or 4, and I wasn't even really playing the guitar. I was playing a fake guitar, but I was singing Elvis songs, because Elvis has always been one of my favorites.
He started playing with his grandma at her church when she'd play the piano, and he'd do a couple of songs with her.
I grew up playing with her since about the age of 5. That was always one of my favorite things to do growing up. How's it going, guys? Happy Friday. I'm here with my great-grandma. Today, Moom, we're going to do a song for Flashback Friday. And I wanted to remind everybody we got our CD for sale right here. Oops, excuse me. There we go, over that way. And they're $5 at any show you guys come to. And so we're going to play one of the songs off the CD here for you guys. Want to do Mansion?
All right.
Mansion Over the Hilltop?
Thanks, okay.
I grew up playing a lot of Christian country gospel with my great-grandma. My dad always sang at church, and so I grew up in cowboy church, basically playing a lot my early childhood. Actually, the most I get nervous would be when I sing the national anthem every time, because I mean, you go out there usually in front of a lot of people. If I'm singing at the Red Bluff Roundup or the Reading Rodeo, there's thousands of people there, and all of a sudden it gets silent and they announce your name and you got to sing. So I get a little bit nervous when singing the anthem when I'm opening for a big act that I've never met, that I'm a big fan of. Star-Spangled Banner, yeah, wave.
He learned the national anthem at a really young age, and he sang, like the junior rodeos, he would sing the national anthem, and he always was playing something, like a guitar. He'd use our desks for stages, and he just loved it.
And my family's everything. They've just been so great. I have a very supportive family, and without them I probably wouldn't be able to do it. So I'm very thankful for my mom, dad, sister, my wife, and everybody.
His father played lead guitar and sang in a country band when he was a young boy, and he knew right then that's what he wanted to do in life.
When I was first starting, my dad taught me how to play guitar.
I was in a band when he was fairly young, and I'd take him to band practice with me once in a while. I thought he was going to be a drummer, really, because he was just fascinated by the drums. But it wasn't long before he grabbed a hold of a guitar and started learning, and he was pretty young, and he learned his first song.
That's just what he does,
And we basically kind of spread it around a little, because there's always a danger of an artist being too influenced by one artist, so I wanted him to be himself, and so I didn't particularly think that he needed to spend too much time with just one artist as he learned and progressed, so that he could take on his own sound. And that was something we kind of always emphasized to him. Started learning, and he was pretty young. And from there, it's just been an avalanche of experiences, shows.
Well, I met her at a grocery store one day when I was standing in line. She looked like everything I wanted. She's beautiful and kind. 2 weeks later, picked her up for a date, and that's when I put her to the test. I asked her if she liked country, and this is what she said. She said, I don't like Hank, and I don't like Johnny, Said she can't stand those drinking songs sang by Kix and Ronnie. She started laughing at me when I told her I was a George Strait junkie. Hey, that's a fine looking lady, but she can't be my baby, she don't even like country. Well, it made me kinda mad at first. I could feel my face turning red, but I could've kept things going if it wasn't for the next thing she said. I knew I'd had enough of her company when she started running down the hatch. And I left her standing on the side of the road. That was the end of that. 'Cause she don't like Hank, and she don't like Johnny. Said she can't stand those drinking songs sang by Kix and Ronnie. She started laughing at me when I told her I was a George Strait junkie. Hey, that's a fine looking lady, but she can't be my baby, she don't even like country. Oh, here we go now. Almost everything I wanted, I swear. Great personality and long blonde hair. She even had a lot of money, but she can't be my honey, she don't even like country. So if you see her down the road, buddy, just let her go, she don't even like country. No, she don't even like country. Said she didn't like Garth Brooks, Tim McGraw, or Alan Jackson. Said she didn't care for Conway Twitty or Charlie Pride. Hell, she never even heard of Vince Gill or Dwight Yoakam, and that was a problem right there for me. No, she don't even like country.
When Chad was probably about a sophomore in high school, I emceed an event at the Red Bluff High School Performing Arts Center, and it was a talent show competition. And this young, tall, lanky kid wandered out on the stage and hardly wanted to say a word. But when he started singing, he opened up and he owned that stage and he blew away the competition. I emceed or was involved in other competitions, and invariably he was there, and invariably he came out on top.
Baby, that red dress brings me to my knees. Oh, but that black dress makes it hard to break. You're saying you're a goddess, the cutest, the hottest masterpiece. So the State Theater in Red Bluff, I've gotten to know everybody involved with that through talent shows, really. You know, I started playing at the Bear Flag when it was in Red Bluff. I started doing competitions there, and I think one of the competitions was at the State Theater that I did. My first opening slot was at the Tama Fair in Red Bluff for James Otto, and once I started getting some opening slots there, the rodeos, the State Theater took an interest and said, hey, why don't you open up for one of our shows? And I got to know them, and ever since I started opening at the State Theater, they've been phenomenal to me. And so I'm one of the main artists that gets to open up for the main acts that come through there.
This was basically an empty auditorium almost a decade ago. We started holding events on a community-wide basis. And one of the first performers we thought of on a local basis was Chad Bushnell.
Yeah, a few times. I felt the famous feeling mainly when I performed at the State Theater in Red Bluff. That's probably one of my top favorite places to perform. And just getting to open for some of my heroes on that really nice state-of-the-art stage, and just getting out there, meeting new people, meeting new fans.
And it was probably 6-7 years ago that he headlined his own concert in the auditorium right where we are today.
Things didn't work out like we planned. You took that wedding ring off your hand and said we were through, and left me in this broken state.
When he steps on that stage, a consummate performer shows up and gives you more than a bang for your buck, that's for sure.
I'm getting nowhere sitting in our living room, so I'm gonna go. A lot of men do. I'm going to Mexico to get you off my mind. I've seen senoritas and the beer flows like wine. There's nothing left for a man like me to do anyway. I'm going to Mexico, you know I'll be fine. I'd do anything to get you out of my mind, and I'll stay down here if I have to the rest of my life. Down to Mexico. I'll spend all day in some rundown bar, telling stories and smoking cigars with some good old boys.
Chad has been he's been on our radio station so many times.
I was writing a song about basically my hometown, because people, they've always said, hey, you need to move to Nashville, you need to get out of here. And I said, well, I really love Red Bluff and I love Reading, this whole area, and I've chose to stay here and go back and forth. So I thought of this song and said, well, there's also nothing wrong with staying in your hometown too. I love it here. I get to perform as much as I want to. I get to go back and forth to Nashville, and so that's really my last song that I've been working on. Cedars in the water, people tanning by the lake, girls in bikinis, hey, they're looking my way. Everybody's having such a great old time. Above all this commotion, one thing I find, there's nothing quite like summer, hanging with your friends, drinking by the lake, just wishing it would never end. Parties every night beneath the light of the moon. Speakers all around us blasting country tunes. It's when the nights get warmer, days getting longer. Those girls in bikinis can't get any harder. If you ain't happy, that's a bummer. There's nothing quite like summer. On the weekdays you'll be working that shift from 9 to 5. When Friday comes, you'll be ready to unwind. Pick up your baby and a case of Bud Light. It's time to get wild. I'm past the city limit sign. There's nothing quite like summer, hanging with your friends, drinking by the lake, just wishing it would never end. Parties every night beneath the light of the moon. Speakers all around us blasting country tunes. It's when the nights get warmer, days get longer. Those girls in bikinis can't get any harder. If you ain't happy, that's a bummer. There's nothing quite like summer. Some spinning out on the beach with her toes in the sand. Some choose to go downtown at night and party all night with a band. There's nothing quite like summer, hanging with your friends, drinking by the lake, just wishing it would never end. Parties every night beneath the light of the moon. Radio is up and blasting country tunes. It's when the nights get warmer, days get longer. There's girls in bikinis splashing in the water. If you ain't happy, that's a bummer. There's nothing quite like summer. Yeah, there's nothing quite like summer. I hear a song I like sometimes, and so I'll, have it in my head for a few days, and then I'll kind of go off that sometimes, And I think a lot of artists do that. I throw in different chords, I try different lyrics. I say, hey, let's, I like this song, but I want to kind of come up with my own style of doing this type of song. And so that's kind of what I do.
We've been out on the road about 10 years or so, played music all around the world. Got to see some cool things, make friends with big names. I'm blessed to call you my girl.
Of doing this type of song. And so that's kind of what I do. I go in and I kind of have a tune, and I'm like, okay, now I need to come up with some lyrics and a hook. I like to come up with the hook of the song first, and then I just go from there. I write the verse, the chorus, verse, chorus, the bridge. That's a lot of standard writing style that I do. And yeah, basically I usually come up with the melody first and then write lyrics to it. But you never know, once in a while I'll come up with a cool hook or a lyric, and I say, okay, now I need to put a melody to it. It just depends.
And we'd be closer to your mother, or how about on New Mexico? If you left it up to me, say let's pack our bags and move to Tennessee.
One that sticks out the most, though, is opening for Ben Haggard and Chris Christopherson at the Cascade Theater. That was probably the coolest.
In Red Bluff, at the State Theater. Of course, he's performed in Red Bluff so many times, but it was a very special night for Chad Bushnell. He'd come out with a new album, and he had Ben Haggard, Merle's son, help him on the album with a couple of great songs. And guess who played together? Ben Haggard and Chad Bushnell in Red Bluff. And this was one for the ages, and I wish we could have exposed more people to Chad and Ben together. They work so well together. Of all the shows I've seen Chad do, all the openings that he's done, the headlining that he's done, that's the one that sticks out to me. That was an incredible night at the State Theater in Red Bluff.
That was one of the coolest things I've got to do at the State Theater. Ben Haggard and I got to perform a sold-out show at the State Theater, and that was just incredible. Got to play a lot of Merle Haggard songs, got to play a lot of my songs.
Then there was an intermission, and I don't think Chad's band knew exactly what was going on. I know Ben Haggard didn't, because Chad said, I'll be right back. And Ben and our fiddle player did an instrumental. They were doing Ida Red. It was awesome. People were going crazy. I told Ben, I'm going to look out behind the curtain, and then you need to start Burning Love. Okay. So the band starts Burning Love, and Chad jumps out with his Elvis costume on and just rips it up.
And dressed up like Elvis and got out and performed some songs, which I wouldn't normally do, but I needed to do something, so I got up and dressed like Elvis and sang a few songs. And Ben Haggard didn't know I was going to do that, and when I jumped out there in my Elvis suit, he was in shock. So.
Chad Bushnell, the quiet man that he is, came out on stage as Elvis Presley. And I've seen a few Elvis Presley impersonators in Vegas and Reno and that sort of thing. Chad Bushnell can hold his own with any of them.
My friend JB from Red Bluff, he hired me to play for his mother-in-law's birthday party. And he said, my only request is that you dress up in the Elvis suit and you sing Elvis, because she's a huge Elvis fan. And I said, okay. And he's all, by the way, my niece is going to be there and I'd like to introduce you to her. And I said, okay, and, whatever. And so I showed up and I set up all my stuff. I'm kind of looking around. I don't see his niece anywhere. And so I sing a few songs. She's still not there. And so he kind of says, okay, it's time for Elvis. So I go change into my Elvis suit, and I come back out, and I just get singing my first song in my Elvis suit, and there she walks in. I knew that was her. And so the first time she saw me and then I met her, I was in my Elvis suit singing Elvis, and she probably thought I was a total dork, but that's how we met. And so and then from there, we ended up getting married. Baby, I love you and love what I do. Play this old guitar, trying to be a star, coming home to you. Keeps me going, just knowing I don't have to choose. Baby, I love you, and I love what I do. Every weekend, out on the road, chasing the dream that I can't let go. Searching for that pot of gold at the end of an old neon rainbow. Just finished the show, missing you so. I just want you to know, baby, I love you and love what I do. Playing this old guitar, trying to be a star, coming home to you. Keeps me going, just knowing I don't have to choose. Baby, I love you, and I love what I do. You believe in me, that I'll always be true to you, and the last thing I do is lose what we have, girl. Baby, I love you and love what I do. Play these smoky bars, trying to be a star. My heart is true. Keep me going, just knowing that I don't have to choose. Baby, I love you, love what I do. Baby, I love you. Baby, I love you, and I love what I do.
And my favorite mug every morning.
Growing up in Red Bluff, Chad has made himself a career in country music while maintaining his small-town roots, horseshoeing for local horse trainers and ranchers. He is an accomplished farrier and competes in rodeos as both a steer wrestler and team roper.
Oh, I can down it about as fast as a cold beer to win a football game.
During high school, I was shy as a freshman and sophomore, but there's some other students that knew I sang. And I was in agriculture. I was, in FFA and all that stuff. And so some of the students told Mrs. Swady that I was a singer, and she said, hey, why don't you enter the FFA talent show? You have to go to Fresno and compete in the state competition. So I competed in horse judging because that's what I grew up around the most. And I performed there 3 years, sophomore, junior, and senior year, in front of probably 4,000 or 5,000 people each year at the Selland Arena, which was huge and I got up there the first time and I was just so nervous at 15 years old as a sophomore performing in the Selland Arena in front of probably 5,000 people. That was definitely the high school experience that I remember,
He also enjoys hunting, fishing, and spending time with his wife, friends, and family.
my wife and sister and I, something we like to do, we say, well, if you had just, $10,000 to go do something you really wanted to do, what would you do? And mine would either be go hunt mule deer in, Colorado, New Mexico, or go fishing in Alaska. And this one time I was really hoping to get a deer. It was pretty close to dark, and I said, well, I should probably start thinking about heading back home. And I ran into a creek. And so I said, well, I kind of want to get down this creek and I'll walk my way back to the ranch house. And so I started to ease down this creek, and it was really steep and there was some shell rock. And I started to ease down there, and then I slipped on the shell rock, and I slid probably 15, 20 feet down into the creek, and it, rocks went everywhere. And I said, well, I just messed up my chances. And I looked up, and there was a really nice buck standing up there, and I just rose up and was successful. So that was probably my deer hunting story. And I had to go, that was the first big buck I'd ever killed, and my dad said, well, part of the tradition is that you have to pack it out. And unfortunately, the cabin was actually up the mountain. It wasn't down by the creek. So I couldn't get out of the creek by myself. I mean, it was 160 pounds. I couldn't, physically get out of there. So my dad came and helped me. He helped me do everything. And I got on my back, got out of the creek. And so I had to hike up all the way out of the mountain with this 160-pound deer on my back. And so my dad said, that's part of the tradition. You got to hike back up to the top and take it to the four-wheeler. And I said, so yeah, talk about an adrenaline rush. And my family's everything. They've just been so great. I have a very supportive family. And without them, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. So very thankful for my mom, dad, sister, my wife, and everybody. So.
Here she comes walking in, cotton dresses swishing, smoke is sick and the lights are dim, and she sure got me wishing for a little bit of time.
In his mind, a lot of the time, especially with his encouraging songs, that's what he writes them for. He's not trying to be preachy or anything, but he wants people to know that he has faith, and that's what drives him, and that, give them hope. And he wants to contribute something good instead of through his music rather than something negative.
And Merle Haggard once told me, he says, the hardest thing in the world is to write a song. If you can write a song and produce a song and play that song, you are steps ahead of almost everybody else.
That Merle is a big influence on Chad and Wade and your dad.
Oh, yeah.
And his songwriting is the ultimate, to me, of all songwriters. And I know Chad's been to a lot of songwriter rounds. He goes to Nashville and writes, and has written some great songs.
Well, I've been a working man dang near all my life, but I keep on working as long as my two hands are fit to use. And I drink my beer in a tavern and sing a little bit of these working man blues. Well, I keep my nose on the grindstone, work hard every day, and get tired on the weekend after I draw my pay and go back to working. And come Monday morning, I'm right back with the crew. And I drink my beer in a tavern and sing a little bit of these working man blues. Sometimes I think about leaving, gonna do a little bumming around, throw the bills out the window, catch a plane to another town, go back working. I gotta buy my kids a brand new pair of shoes. And I drink my beer in a tavern and sing a little bit of these working man blues. Oh, here we go now. and that's one place I'll be, 'cause I'll be working as long as my two hands are fit to use. And I drink my beer in a tavern and sing a little bit of these working man blues. Hey, I drink my beer in a tavern and cry a little bit of these working man blues. The song was out to the working man.
I said, you know I don't let just anyone. Girl, go ahead.
He has opened for big names in the industry, including Scotty McCreery, Lee Brice, Tracy Lawrence, Neil McCoy, Billy Currington, Mark Wills, Josh Grayson, Mark Chestnut, Jared Neiman, Tyler Farr, and has been back to Nashville to meet with Teddy Gentry from the Alabama Band.
The Red Bluff Theater, the State Theater, has been so fantastic. They're very supportive of Chad and his music.
I've performed there so much growing up. It's really great.
He's opened for so many famous artists there.
There's so many that, and you know, I've gotten to meet so many of my heroes that once I met them and saw them live, it's like, wow, I'm a whole new, even more of a fan, you know. Alan Jackson is the one that comes to mind. His was probably the first album I bought, and I can't think of the name, but it's the one with Neon Rainbow and Chattahoochee and all those famous Alan Jackson songs. That's probably the one I remember growing up with the most that I bought. Yeah, ever since I was younger, Vince Gill's really been a huge influence. I've really been a big fan. Hope to meet him one day. Yeah. And a lot of Dwight Yoakam. You know, I like to be energetic on stage like Dwight, and of course Vince Gill, just with his you know, the way he presents himself on stage.
So we're talking about shows, and there's so many memorable moments for Chad Bushnell.
We're lucky enough that he's participated probably in 6 to 10 shows in one manner or another.
He likes being on stage, where we are not stage people.
And I've got to open for a lot of my heroes at the State Theater. Just the way it's set up, you know, the stage, the atmosphere.
He feels most comfortable on stage. He would transform into this little music, you know, really, actually I was surprised because he was very shy growing up. And if he had a guitar and a little fake microphone, he would make a little stage and perform.
Recording in Nashville with some well-known songwriters, Chad has found himself on the top of the Christian country music charts with multiple songs.
And, you know, I've always been a Christian, and I always thought, you know, that I would have songs out that were sort of Christian country. That's always kind of been my thing. Of course, you know, some of my stuff from 6-8 years ago was sort of mainstream, like You Can Drive My Truck, Shooting Like Country. And then, thank the Lord, I met a lady named Lisa Daggs in Nashville a couple years ago, and she sort of opened some doors for me.
2 songs that have made the charts in the Christian country, 2 #1 songs.
I went back to Nashville. I got to write with Corey Lee Barker, who is a big-time songwriter back there, and he writes for the Hallmark Channel and a bunch of different things, written for John Michael Montgomery. And so we wrote this song, and beforehand he said, hey, I want you to come up with the idea before we get here. And so I said, okay, no pressure. And on the way back from on the plane ride, I said, man, what am I going to come up with? And I thought about those bracelets I used to wear as a kid that said WWJD. And I'd always had that idea. So I want to write a song called WWJD. And so I presented that to him. And he's all, well, why don't we just say, what would Jesus do? And so we just started writing. I presented my ideas, and we collaborated. And we wrote the song, they put it out, and it hit #1 in December 2019. Brother, it's no bother. In fact, I'm glad you asked. You can't rush decisions like that. Well, I learned long ago, bad choices get you hurt. Made a system based on 4 little words. And will it make the world a better place or worse off? Will it make friends and strangers wanna be like me or not? Will I be proud? Will I be ashamed? Will I need to think it through? What would Jesus do? Well, if you stop and listen, see guidance on your knees. Prayer has a way putting all your fears at ease. You won't have to wonder, you won't have to second guess. You won't have to drown in your regrets. And will it make the world a better place or worse off? Will it make friends and strangers wanna be like me or not? Will I be proud? I'll be ashamed. We'll need to think through. What would Jesus do? It's not rocket science. If you don't believe me, try it. It's amazing what a little prayer can do. Will it make the world a better place or worse off? Will it make friends and strangers wanna be like me or not? Will I be proud? I'll be ashamed. Will I need to think it through? What would Jesus do? Oh, what would Jesus do?
He's still kind of a aw shucks quiet guy, but he's a lot more comfortable in his skin.
I'll spend all day in some rundown bar.
Chad and his four-piece band tour throughout the western states performing an energetic mix of both originals and country music covers, and have won Best Band of the North State for 2014 through 2019.
Beach and get a tan. Maybe even Joan and Mary I can fan. It doesn't matter. So I stop thinking about you.
I love playing with the band. I go back and forth though, you know, I love if it's a bigger stage and like I'm opening for someone, definitely prefer a band. If it's something smaller venue, I like to do acoustic because sometimes I get to throw in some new songs I haven't played. It gives me a chance to kind of share that and see how the fans react to it.
Like wine, there's nothing there for a man like me to do anyway. If I'm going to Mexico, you know I'll be fine. I'd do anything to get you out of my mind. And I'll stay down here if I have to the rest of my life. Down in Mexico.
Chad was a top 10 finalist in the American Country Star Contest in Nashville and won the Horizon Award.
You know, I love to perform and travel and go on stage. I love meeting new people. The Texas Troubadour Theater in Nashville, it's right by the Grand Ole Opry, which is my dream to perform there someday. And I get to perform at Cowboy Church there, and I have an awesome band I get to perform with there. And I get to open for Johnny Cash's sister, Joanne Cash, every time, so that's a huge plus.
I'm going to Mexico, you know I'll be fine. I'd do anything to get you out of my mind. And I'll stay down here if I have to the rest of my life. Down in Mexico. Down in Mexico. Down in Mexico.
If it's somewhere where you get judged, or you sit within the pew, that ain't my church. If it's somewhere that forgiveness depends on what you do, that ain't my church. And if it's all about the dollar sign, that ain't what the Father had in mind. My church is somewhere you can lay it down and find your peace on holy ground and know you're loved much more than you deserve. Somewhere that the Spirit flows, lights up the heart, renews the soul, and gives you hope that's wrapped up in the Word. That's what I'm talking about, 'cause if it's anything else, that ain't my church. That ain't my church. If they water down the message so there's no way to offend, that ain't my church. If the truth takes a backseat to whatever pleases man, that ain't my church. The love of Jesus ain't what it's about. Discount the cross, they can count me out. My church is somewhere you can lay it down and find your peace on holy ground and know you're loved much more than you deserve. Somewhere that the Spirit flows, lights up the heart, renews the soul, and gives you hope that's wrapped up in the Word. That's what I'm talking about, 'cause if it's anything else, that ain't my church. My church is somewhere you can lay it down and find your peace on holy ground and know you're loved much more than you deserve. Somewhere that the Spirit flows, lights up the heart, renews the soul, and gives you hope that's wrapped up in the Word. Hey, this is God, y'all. I'm tearing down the walls, and if it's not a place enough grace for all, that ain't my church. That ain't my church. That ain't my church. That ain't my church.
I have noticed that he's been at the top of the gospel charts on a couple of different occasions for songs that he has written and performed. That kind of success has not, and nor do I believe would ever change Chad Bushnell. Every year, on 2 or 3 occasions, he very quietly will go to local convalescent homes. He goes to local middle schools on a regular basis, and he never turns them down.
And he plays for the people, and that's what it's all about. He knows the audience, he knows the room, particularly up here in the North States.
Q97 has been fantastic. Every single DJ has been like family almost. They have Chad has been able to do the radio interviews. They play his songs on the radio. They come out to his shows. They've introduced him at the show, at the openers.
So we are very proud of Chad Bushnell on today's Country Q97. And the fact that he is open and interested in those around him, not just with regards to country music, not with just regards to shoeing horses, but he is generally interested in people. Chad's a people person, and so his songwriting reflects all of that, reflects where he's grown up, reflects the people that he knows, reflects family, reflects romance through Chad's eyes.
I can assure you that no matter how big, how successful Chad Bushnell gets, he will still be that kind of person, but he's a keeper, and that's no lie.
The radio station, Q97, Billy and Patrick have been awesome. Rick Healy, Dave Tappan, they've all helped me out so much, and I've gotten to be featured on the radio station multiple times. Every time I have a bigger show around here, they're there. When I was opening for Dwight Yoakam, you know, they come in, they take pictures, get some footage, and have really promoted me. Oh, they've been awesome to me and helped promote my career so much. I love being in the studio as well. I mean, anytime I get to go to Nashville and record and be in those studios with those musicians, it's just always such a great experience. I look forward to that. I probably go record at least twice a year. Had a little fight so we can use and break, and I said okay. Little time apart wouldn't hurt, and I said honey, take your time. So you were going out of town with the girls for the weekend. Somewhere sunny with wide open spaces where you could ride. Last thing you said, you were headed for somewhere in Texas. And that's been 2 months now, and I've seen or heard from you. Where'd you go, baby? I'm missing you like crazy. What was really going on behind your innocent smile? I've nearly gone off the deep end, wondering what you were thinking, what you meant when you'd be gone for just a little while. But you're taking time like it's going out of style. Night a little fight broke out there, raindrops pouring, with the screaming and yelling I remember clear as a bell. Said you couldn't stand the likes of me, and I thought you were just angry. Didn't know you'd really leave and put me through this living hell. Last thing you said, you were headed for somewhere in Texas. And that's been long enough now to know I'll never see you again. Where did you go, baby? Missing you like crazy. What was really going on behind your innocent smile? I've nearly gone off the deep end, wondering where the heck have you been, and what you meant when you were gone for just a little while. You're taking time like it's going out of style. It's going out of style.
I was thinking about all the great talent we have here in the North State, and there is so much, and it's not just country. We have so many wonderfully talented musicians, songwriters, performers. And Chad, for country, he's it right now in Northern California. He has worked so hard to achieve that status. And people come from all over to see Chad Bushnell. When Chad's playing, you're going to get people from not just Tehama County, not just Shasta County, not just Siskiyou, from all over. Everybody's heard of Chad Bushnell.
I'm much too young to feel this demo. Oh, I'm much too young to feel this demo.
Funding for Chad Bushnell, North State Roots, provided by It's Jerky. It's Jerky is produced and family owned in the North State. It's Jerky, producing beef jerky and beef sticks since 1996, and by viewers like you.